That's and here we are.
Good afternoon, morning. What day are we on? What time are we on?
It's Wednesday.
It's 1 o'clock, and this is the BAWB Chronicles. And guess what? We are back at the BAWB, Back Alley Wine Bar, downtown Prescott, Arizona, behind the famous Whiskey Row, and now the famous Whiskey Alley. But with that being said, let's get this started.
I've been down there, looking for the silver lining, but no matter what, we always find it. So maybe you should just get lost.
Holy moly! Just like always, we come to the table with a lot of cool things, but the best part about it is we are back here at the Back Alley Wine Bar, downtown Prescott, Arizona, off the famous Whiskey Row in the alley. But guess what? It's right here downtown Arizona, Prescott, Arizona. I keep on forgetting the Prescott part. Gosh darn it. Being born and raised here, everybody, like, you should know where I already live, guys. You see the beard, you know where I'm at. But with that being said, how are you doing, my favorite co-host?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
Yes.
Tell everybody who you are and what makes you famous.
I'm Rochelle, and I'm definitely not famous, but I keep on coming back because I really enjoy the opportunity to bring special guests to you guys.
Oh, speaking about special guests, tell everybody who you are and what makes you famous.
Well, I am famous for being a bank robber and then getting hired with the sheriff's office, coincidentally. Oh, not that part?
I've been with whatever story that comes
I love
out.
this story.
I'm
Yes,
like, let's hear that story more. I don't even know if we want to talk about the Yavapai County Sheriff's Department anymore. But as you guys see, we are definitely checking out some of the cool people in our community. And the number one thing is to connect those people with people that are actually doing something for our community. And Yavapai County is a fairly big county to cover and obviously to manage when it comes down to emergencies or even just being the person you are. So tell everybody kind of what you do.
So I will answer your question. I'm Kristin Greene. I am the Director of Public Affairs and Government Relations for the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. And what I do is I work directly with Sheriff Rhodes, and my department is partly the public information officers, where you guys are used to seeing a police officer stand up and send out the press releases or tell you what's going on, which we do. But we also have a bigger component to our department that we just started last year. I'm almost on my year anniversary here. Sheriff David Rhodes, he decided that he didn't want just a plain old public information officer anymore. He wanted an entire department that was focused on the community. And the idea is, usually with law enforcement and a lot of other agencies, they just give information one direction. They give it out to you. Well, what he wanted to do was have people who are out in the community speaking to our residents and our citizens so that they could get their voice heard, give it back to the two ladies that work with me. Their names are Heidi and Laura, and bring it back to the sheriff directly so that he knows what's going on in the community. He knows what the concerns are that he's hearing, because a lot of people feel like, oh, I can't possibly get to the sheriff. I couldn't, but well, that's not true. He's completely accessible.
I think a lot of people do wonder, well, if I'm not in trouble and I don't have a major problem, how do I connect? What do I need to do? How do I interact with the sheriff's department?
You know what? Speaking about getting in trouble, I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room. If you guys are out there comfortable in your home, grab a glass of wine. You could join me. Oh, these ladies couldn't do it because they are on the job. So let's just cheers it up.
With our water.
Please note the water, guys.
Yes, thank you.
And cheers, everybody. Oh, but first, let me go ahead and tell you the rules of engagement. It's first you stir it. And the reason why you do is because you want to go ahead and get that air going in. And then you want to sniff it. All right? And then you come into the... Oh my gosh. And once again, you guys have the H2O, and let me go ahead and tell you guys that you're missing out.
Yes, we know.
Ultimately, they're on the job, so we can't go ahead and persuade them today, which is totally fine. It is 5 o'clock somewhere. And it's for me, not for them. But hey, I don't want to rub it in too much, but this is the kind of the story that we like to go ahead and hear about, is like, things that are happening in our community over a glass of wine. Like, this is going to be awesome for me. And I'm going to keep on rubbing it in their face because I get to drink, not them. Unless you guys are out there wanting to drink with me. Say cheers if you don't mind. So guys, this is actually really cool. When you actually write me and say, hey, guess who we have on the show? And I'm just like, who do we have? Who do we have? And all of a sudden your name came up. I was like, oh my Lord, here we go.
I met her.
I met her. I know who she is. And if you guys don't know, is that she is actually the one that actually presents all the information that comes from the Yavapai County Sheriff's Department. And we actually provide it all on the PrescottTimes.com. So if you guys want to see those stories when they happen and as they're actually posted, you guys can see that there first for free at the PrescottTimes.com.
You guys are great at reposting our things, so we do thank you for that, because the more to disseminate, the better.
Mhm.
Well, I think getting the information out there as quickly as you do and as concisely as you do is really, really important.
And that's the important thing. And your job is actually, it's not a lightly one, because you're the voice behind, Yavapai County Sheriff's Department. So, I mean, ultimately, we don't want to talk about all the bad things that are happening in the community. We want to talk about all the good things that are happening through the Yavapai County Sheriff's Department. And I'm just going to bring it out there. Shout out to Sheriff Rose for being a part of the Dancing for the Stars.
Yes.
But I'm going to beat you, brah. I'm going to beat you, because we are going to be hosting, we're going to be a part of that big old huge fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club. And he's actually one of the dancers. So shout out
He
to
is.
and if you guys want to go ahead and actually support him, you're more than welcome to. I'll give you
I think you can vote twice.
You
If
can
I'm
vote.
not mistaken, there's like 3 ways to vote. You can definitely vote
Yes,
for
you
both.
can vote for a few people if you really want to support us. But needless to say, just go straight to the kids. So that is something huge, for a man that can be very busy running all of the Yavapai County sheriffs and still be able to give back to the community. This shows a character that I've never seen before. Besides the fact is that, he brought you in for a reason. So if that good attitude and this good attitude is coming together, this could be a good thing for our community. So
Yes, he is extraordinarily supportive of the community. He's been working for the sheriff's office his entire career. He's been there for over 20 years. He started as a 17-year-old there, so he is very supportive. And I will tell you that when I came up here to interview for this job a year ago, I wasn't sure that I wanted. I've been living in Phoenix all this time. I'm used to working in a big firm. I wasn't really thinking about it. And this is not a joke. I've told this people. I met Sheriff Rhodes and Chief Newnham, and just their vision for what they wanted law enforcement to be, how they wanted to interact with the community, what they envisioned was so, in my mind, radical, only because I hadn't heard of this in other law enforcement agencies, but they're so interested in the community and making people better. Their focus is not arrest. We always think of police officers as the people that just give us tickets, That's not what they're focused on. Everything that Sheriff Rhodes thinks about is how to make not only the community better, but the people that end up interacting with us, unfortunately, help them to find a better way into the world. And that changed everything for me. I went home to my husband and said, pack it up, we're moving to Prescott.
I just
Let's
threw
go.
Sheriff Rhodes' photo up on on our stream as well. If you can see the Dancing for the Stars, you can see everybody.
Yes. See, we're unbiased over here.
They get to really connect, because it does, just as you've spoken to, the depth of character, the desire, the direction, the time and energy spent with the community outreach and making sure people don't just see the negative, and they really feel like they can interact with the Sheriff's Department, which is
Very much
again
so.
one of your primary roles. What other ways is the Sheriff's Department really kind of interacting in the community?
Well, one of the things is that, as I mentioned, I have 2 wonderful ladies that work with me, and their whole role is to be out in the community at events, any event. They split the county down into, because we are 8,000 square miles, and they go to HOA meetings if you want them. They will put together a neighborhood watch for you. They will come talk about Code Red, which is the emergency notification system during wildfires. We have one of the ladies, Heidi, who is obsessed with our deputy Jew, right? Who is
Shout out, Heidi.
exactly our character who goes to schools. We do bike rodeos, which are things like teaching kids to make sure they wear their helmets to keep them safe. And so we're absolutely in the community everywhere. Now, if folks want us to come out there for any reason, whatever it is, they can contact us through our website, which I need to actually say, we've heard from all of you that you hate our website. We're working on it. In the next couple of months, it's going to look a lot better. But
I was
through,
like, the last time I was there was, just
it's
kidding.
very difficult to maneuver, but
Okay,
it's
so Deputy Do-Right actually has his own Facebook page. I'm just gonna share that real quick because it's super cute. If you haven't seen him, I mean, I can see why Heidi's obsessed.
Oh, she is.
We definitely want to have him at our Moonlight movie nights and just connecting. with
Yeah,
some
you know, we could do like a little neighborhood watch deal over there at Kinley Field. I think that would be an actual really cool event.
It would be a cool event, and you know, if you want to get Deputy Do-Right, I can tell you and
She
folks that they go
knows
to
somebody.
Oh, yes.
She might know somebody
them-
that knows somebody.
public affairs at yavapaiaz.gov. Great, easy, and they can
We're
just,
on it.
we'll get it. We'll get you him.
Nice, I appreciate that. See, we got to pull these people in order for us to kind of get what we want. But I think that community is everything, and you know, talking and seeing the things that you put out, and also what the community and the Yavapai County Sheriff's Department is doing is really awesome. Because you know, when I was younger, it'd be like, oh gosh, here comes the popo, you know.
Yes.
And in the mentality that is going through us children or even people, you would never expect it, you know. But I grew up with a few family members that have been a part of the Yavapai County Sheriff's Department, Prescott Police Department, and it's always been like family, you know. Like Officer
Yes.
Martinez, also my cousin, distance as well. I think it's by marriage, but whatever. He's still my cousin. So he would just show up and he was like, hey, what are you guys doing? You know, we're just playing, you know, football, whatever. And then he goes, you know, I could clock you guys running down the street if you want. And so I'm like, oh, really? And he goes, yeah, here, I'll drive down here and you guys just run as fast as you can to me and we'll clock you. And those are the things that I remember as a young child. And also, he would just call my aunt up and says, hey, I think there's something going on over at Martine's house. You might want to call her. Hey, before we get there. and this is the type of relationship we had in Prescott. So to have Prescott like still kind of like that close knit and being able to just walk in and see Sheriff Rose whenever you felt like it, or I mean, obviously, you probably got to get a little bit of appointment. Just don't walk in there might be an issue. But I mean, to be able to do that, I feel like that's actually awesome. So this is great.
I've got their Facebook page up, and it shows so many fun events. You know, there's a bicycle rodeo, and teaching some safety, biking safety. Just so many fun moments that the community can be introduced, like to the K-9. I think they went to Oak Creek Elementary School.
Yes.
It really shows that the outreach is present, and that is, I mean, it's such a big part of the battle.
Yes. I mean, one of the things that we know, especially when I took this job last year, was, you know, law enforcement was a dirty word. And, you know, that was not only so unfortunate, and it didn't happen up here in Yavapai County. I will say that, you know, one of the things that I've seen here is the unbelievable amount of support that the law enforcement, sheriff's office, the PDs, the police departments, Yavapai County residents are amazing with their support. I mean, they were out at the Memorial Day event at the cemetery. They were out at the law enforcement fallen officers memorial. I mean, it is astonishing up here, but it isn't that way everywhere. That doesn't mean that law enforcement here sits on its laurels and says, oh, we're good, everybody loves us. That's not what, you know, the sheriff's office does. And they're so interested in wanting to be a catalyst for better. And that's, like I said, again, something that made me come up here and actually move my entire life up here. I believed in what they were doing, which is funny because I worked with fire departments for 6 years all over the country, and fire told me never talk to police, don't talk. And police always says, don't talk to fire, don't talk to fire.
That's so funny.
So I never thought that I'd come up here and work for law enforcement. So
You're like,
I'm learning. Yeah.
It's okay, guys.
Yeah.
You can come to the other side.
Exactly. So I will. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, you know, I think one of the police and fire are always gonna have it. But one of the nice things is you said that YCSO covers 8,000
square miles.
So they work with a lot of the other police departments really closely. I mean, how does that work?
Yes. So one of the things up here is that the police departments and even the Department of Public Safety, which is state troopers, the ones who really do write the tickets, we all work very closely together because I think there's a sentiment that if there's something wrong, you know, people don't look at their map and go, well, not in my jurisdiction, not in my city. I mean, obviously there's a respect for that, but you know, a good example, I would be if there's some major event, I hate to bring up a school shooting, but let's just say there was something like that. You wouldn't see somebody say, oh, well, whose jurisdiction is that one? And is that you? No, everybody works together. Another good example, Yavapai Apache officer who was shot. Every jurisdiction was there. Everyone was helping. Everyone was out there looking. We just had one of our deputies receive a commendation from the Phoenix Police Department for taking his time to go down to Phoenix to find a fugitive down there for them. So the interaction amongst each other is not only great for them, but for us.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Well, you lent yourself to, what are some safety things that we can talk about? What are some things that the community can do to really, be better prepared and not have to have all these jurisdictions come and save the day? Because they will.
Right.
I need power.
Oh yeah. Unplug this one.
Okay, great, thanks.
We all need
That's the
power.
black one. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Just one moment, please.
I got that new tool, and the new tool says, "Hey man, you can only plug a couple things in there." I didn't get the
I
upgrade.
have the same problem.
Yeah, I didn't get the upgrade. But
To
when
answer-
you
sorry.
want two screens off of a laptop, this
True.
is the ultimate thing to do. And plus, it's so it's perfect.
And now I don't know which screen to get to see our whole thing.
Okay, it's gonna. You can shrink that one down.
Okay, sorry.
It's all right.
Well, I can answer your question while you're looking for that if you
Yes,
want.
please.
So, some of the safety things we talked about.
Yellow.
Yep.
Yellow one.
This is so funny.
So sorry.
There's not yellow.
See the chrome? The chrome, yeah. Two.
Okay,
Two.
there we are.
There you go.
Pardon me.
No, that's okay. Technical difficulties. We're back.
She's like, oh man.
Yes. So one of the, we post a lot on our Facebook page, different things, whether it's safety related or not. We just posted one about dragging chains and causing wildfires.
Right.
Something I never would have thought of, but it happens. And obviously we're in wildfire season now, so which I've been told to brace for. So
Scary.
yeah, it is scary, but also, and we've seen a couple of things. Starting last week, we had 2 ATV deaths in 2 weeks of young people who were on their ATVs playing, having fun with their families. And, they didn't have helmets on, they didn't have safety gear on, and they lost their lives because of this. And it's horrible to think about that. As a matter of fact, we just put together an ATV safety video that we're going to put out on our YouTube channel soon. But also, we also had that gentleman who ended up passing away because he got lost up in Mingus Mountain. And so one of the things that a way the community could help, our search and rescue folks is to just try to be a little bit more prepared. Make sure that you have water, food, cell phone that's charged, what am I trying to say? Flashlight, that was what I was saying.
Mhm.
Extra batteries. If you think you're going on a 2-hour hike, plan for a 2-day hike, just in case.
And we do, especially right now with all the tourism and people wanting to get out because the weather's good, there's tons of beautiful hiking out
Yes.
here. I like an app called All Trails. I don't know if you ever used it.
We just downloaded
But
it.
it actually gives you, even off grid, it'll give you a location so you can, stay a little more aware of where you are.
Yep.
I think one of the, what I understood, one of the primary factors with that gentleman's, tragic situation was that he didn't stay where he was when he called and they had pinged his phone. And so they were able to actually isolate where he was. And then with frustration and desire to find his own way out, he got turned around.
That is what happened, and it's extraordinarily tragic. And we are here to help. We do have search and rescue teams, which that are prepared. And by the way, I don't know if everybody knows this, but our search and rescue teams, they're all volunteers. They are not actually staff members.
If you go to any of the parades, you will actually know
Very
that
true.
they actually come in full on flight. And I'm like, they all love the volunteer feeling, and this is like in a person's heart and soul to be kind of like that helper. So
They're
That's
putting
really
their
cool.
lives on the line. That's not just a helper. They're putting their lives on the line to come save other folks. And
Jeep
that's
Posse, shout out to you guys.
yeah, Jeep Posse. We have an entire we got the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office auxiliary force, and there's the Jeep Posse. There's the ATV, the quad squad.
When are we gonna get the alien force?
Working on it. I'm just yeah, exactly.
With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and break it up one little
Yes.
bit because ultimately we still got to talk about the place with the host, the most,
Yes.
Sherry over here at Back Alley Wine Bar. Thank you so very
Shout
much
out
for
to
giving us
Sherry.
the love and the ability to go ahead and do this in your lovely place. If you guys have not been here, you guys should check it out. This place right here has all the cool things that are happening in town whenever you're feeling like a little leisure night. As you walked in, you're like, whoa.
I have not been in here,
place.
and I thought it was small, and it's not.
Yeah.
And it's very cool.
It's so much fun. So Tuesday nights they have open mic night. You can bring your family in. You can grab food from one of the neighboring restaurants. The Michello's right here, and tons of restaurants on Whiskey Row. And then they have this particular wine is sold by the bottle, and it's $5 off. They also have music.
I actually have a little bit of info on this. This is the first time I ever brought up info, but it was actually pretty
Tell
cool.
us about it, not just how it tastes.
I know. I already like how this works. I'm going to rub it in a little bit more. Maybe you guys can come back whenever you guys are off duty. The Wine Monk, Arizona Wine Blog. I don't know if you guys ever actually listened to that or read it before, but the story behind this is that it comes from France. Yeah.
Mhm.
The
This particular grape.
is that what was it called? To not talk about it.
It would be a tragedy.
To me,
It would be a tragedy. Yeah, that's exactly what it came from. But now it's actually grown in Arizona, and I'm telling you what, this is amazing. I mean, it's kind of crazy coming from the dry state. We were actually talking about it on my Facebook page, like they're trying to open a big old winery in the middle of the desert, and we're like, where's the wine come from? And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think that there's a lot of innovation going on out there. But to be in all honesty, I'm like, how much water do you really need before you start
But
pumping?
also, drip irrigation. There, just as you said, there are a lot of big, ways in which they can conserve water and grow these plants. And we have to figure out how to do it.
I mean, no
We're
matter
keep eating our food.
we might, if we could go ahead and transfer our species from not needing water and we could just use wine, I think this could be actually a really good.
That's part of the alien force we're working on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Oh, no, but no alcohol. Non-alcoholic wine.
We can actually make it work for all of us if we really, really choose to. But I think also having wine in your life is actually a really good thing. So I'll do a little bit of a story. Sherry was posting, she goes, oh, my job today is hard. And she was like taste testing 3 wines. And I'm like, wow, I would like that job. And so I actually messaged her and I'm like, hey, how can we actually work together technically? How can I be a part of your
And that's
job?
how it all began.
Yeah, that's how it all
Yeah.
began. And I swear I showed up I think we're about almost 2 maybe a year and a half or something. And we've been doing this. And Sherry was like, I love this show, but I got a lot of things going on. So I want to go ahead and allow you to go ahead and invite somebody else in. And so guess who showed up? So this is a really good opportunity for you guys to learn a little bit about the wine that's happening here. And also the wine that's over here is from Arizona. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 reasons why you can come down here, each one, try a bottle, and also you guys can be part of their wine club, meaning you get your wine cheaper if you get it in bulk.
And you can try the wine flights. I mean, that is just such a great concept.
That's a great way to do that.
Oh, and the charcuterie board, they offer those here as well. So anyway, shout out to Back Alley Wine Bar, hence the reason why we call it the BAWB Chronicle, BAWB, the BAWB Chronicle. So with that being said, let's get back to serious business. Sorry, that was my little commercial break.
No problem. I just enjoy the fact that you can say charcuterie board because a lot of
I
men
want
cannot.
to get him to say it like 3 times.
I know. Most men can't say it.
Well, it's kind of funny because Ceci actually makes the bombest freaking charcuterie board. And it was like 100%, I was like, whoa, this is actually really nice. And I didn't even know if I was supposed to eat it,
I would
stare at
honestly
it.
eat
or look at
charcuterie for meals. Like I just
My mom does.
Yeah.
My mom does. That's all she has
I
for
call them
dinner.
adult Lunchables.
They are.
Oh, that's a good. I'm gonna tell her that.
But this is a really big, the way that she does it is very extensive. I mean, you have like 3 different cheeses, 3 different crackers, 3 different chocolates, 3 different grapes, 4 different meats. And I'm just like, all right. I mean, I don't know how extensive it is here because I'm still to this day haven't even gotten one, which is a little. Next one, we want a charcuterie board, Sherry.
Well, how are we doing this eating?
Ceci, can we have a charcuterie board?
Is that on the budget?
And will we sponsored by the Desert Rose Retreat?
Yeah.
All right,
I love
we
this
can make
idea.
it happen. Well, we'll make sure we know I'm going to hit her up.
You have to come
I was
back
talking
and
about
get
you.
food.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I was talking about you. Anyways, so this place is beautiful. It has all the wine that you need. And it's actually a really good time to talk with people like you and get you out of the office, get you out of your mind. And the business owners that we bring in here is for the same reasons, because we want to get to know you. Prescott loves like the ability to know who's behind the scenes. So
I am finding that here. That's one of the things that my husband is in love with Prescott because he said, everybody's so nice. We walk in the grocery store and people say, hi, how are you? Nice to see you. He loves it. I mean, it's so friendly. I mean, it is It is amazing.
It was one time I had a guy, I don't even know where they're from, and he goes, what are you trying to tell my wife? And I'm like, what? I was like, oh, me being nice? I mean, you think I'm selling her something? I was like, okay, that works.
I mean, it works both ways because it does have it is such a small town vibe that everybody knows everything.
That is true. One of the ladies, Heidi, that works for me, she grew up here and she knows everything and everyone, and it's fascinating to sit there and pick her brain. So
Yeah.
And you know what? The best part about it is that if you stay here and make a difference, and you're able to go ahead and be something that's really creative here. But the number one thing is that we like to keep it everybody's hometown. I think I like.
But you get great support by that. If you're your mission, your goal, your actions, your words, you're living that being, you get great support in this community, and you really can accomplish so much. I think that back to YCSO, that's as part of that outreach is to gain not only the public's trust and encourage them that things are not just for the negative, but also to gain their support.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things that we started, there was a Facebook page here, but press releases are very dry. They're supposed to be. I'm a purist. Press releases are dry. One of the things that I wanted to do on the Facebook page was to make it a little bit more lively and inject humor when humor can be. Now, I did notice that, at first people weren't used to that, so they didn't, there was a little bit of pushback. But what I've found over the last year is people have come to enjoy the humor because it makes them feel like they're part of it. It makes us feel like we're together, sharing a joke. Right. Humanizing the badge is a very big thing.
I think talking about that, you also can talk about more of the mental health aspect, because I think some of our deputies often feel like they have to be this superhero when they're not, and they want to connect with people. They don't want to be feeling different. I mean, how does that kind of play out in the public eye?
Well, one of the things, as I was mentioning before, some people have a negative connotation when they think about law enforcement being hard and cold. Again, one of the things that Sheriff Rhodes had talked about when I was interviewing here was his real dedication to the integration of law enforcement and mental health. And what that means is, he says, being mentally ill is not a crime. And he has worked really, really hard to make sure that our deputies, we have a crisis intervention team, they're all, they get trained on being able to spot someone in crisis. We have crisis intervention folks who can come out and help us. I recently saw one video from body cam of a young girl who was up on a rooftop and wanted to commit suicide. And, how our deputy handled that was with complete care, and he sat down on the roof instead of got too close to her to make her comfortable. These are the things that come in very handy when you're working with somebody who might have mental illness. But also, we do have to remember that also takes a toll on our guys and our women with the mental health side. What they see day in and day out, and we want to make sure that they too are taken care of. And there's a pretty robust program within the sheriff's office too. But that's what also tells you to keep how much of a community is. When they go home, they don't just drop it at the door. It stays with them, of course.
And it does go both ways. It's the tiniest moment and the tiniest action that can completely change the trajectory of a situation.
Absolutely.
But also, when a deputy comes to you, not necessarily meeting them with this defense already, if you know like things are okay,
Correct.
is often helpful. But mental illness is not just a long-term thing. It can be from situation, and a lot of people
Absolutely.
right now, especially, always you don't know what the last 6 months has looked like for them. You don't know what the last 6 days has looked like for them, in order to crush them under the weight of whatever they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that that's always a consideration.
Absolutely. And again, one of the things that Sheriff Road works on is, and it's actually innovative because I don't think anywhere else in the country has done this, but he has something called Reach Out, which is a program where they try to touch somebody who comes into the jail on the way in and also on the way out to screen them for either a mental health issue, or it could be a substance abuse issue. And the whole idea is to get them help along the way, because this isn't who they are. They're not a criminal. It's a circumstance, and if there's a way to keep them from coming back in and creating this cycle, that's what Sheriff Rhodes and Chief Noonan have been focused on is trying, and also I should say, shout out to the Yavapai County Mental Health and Justice Coalition, who work with us, trying to make sure that these folks are seen as human and they're not seen as, same thing with somebody who unfortunately might be overdosing on fentanyl or something. We have, our deputies don't look at them like, oh my gosh, there's that drug. That's not what they do. They make sure they're okay and they try to get them to, every shift somebody's driven to get help at a facility. So you're right. Looking at our law enforcement people as somebody who are there to help, it's hard sometimes if you're in a certain situation. When I first got up here, I got pulled over, DPS, not because I was speeding. I now don't do it.
Out of it.
No, they totally let me out of it. Why CSO wouldn't let me out of it? But you're that, you get that,
Yeah.
Well, I realized when he came over, he's like, look, people are dying on this road from speed. I'm literally just telling you this to make an impact so that don't do it again.
I think all of the efforts that they're putting in place with adults and with children, with families right now, also ties into what Sheriff Rhodes is doing with Dancing for the Stars. Because the Boys and Girls Club and some of the other youth entities in our area really, really, really do support both ways. This mental health, this strength in family, this guidance to getting family back on their feet when things may not be working out. Somebody loses a job, somebody gets sick. Well, suddenly the dynamic at home is rough. And families really do kind of go downhill. And before they get to YCSO, before they get to really some involvement, they're hopefully leaning on some of these other groups that we have. And can you tell us a little bit about what Boys and Girls Club is doing with the point of the?
Well, one of the things that I've actually talked with Boys and Girls Club about is about how significant they are. And as a young child, it wasn't the Boys and Girls Club; it was Big Sisters, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And my sister had a big sister, and they would, pick us up and take us because we had a single parent home. And ultimately those things were the ones that actually really kept us like, I remember that. I remember going to do that. The experiences, the different ways that people actually pay attention to you can really make a difference in your future tremendously. But we do, growing up over here by the hospital, we were right next to, what's the mental hospital there? On Westside Guidance Clinics. I think it's now Spectrum or something like that. Or Polaris. Anyways.
One or the other.
Anyways, sorry about that, guys. But anyways, what I acknowledge, there is a lot of things that are happening in some of the mental people's minds, and God bless them. I actually talked with a lot of them because, why not? They're just a little cookie, but at the same time,
As are we.
Yeah, and I say, is their cookie a little bit different than my cookie? I have no clue, but I just know that if you treat them like humans, they'll go ahead and treat you with respect. It is some things that happen that kind of like get them to a different state of mind. So, but I actually had a really, really good friend that actually was, he was stable. He was a little slow, but I thought it was because he was from California, smoking a little too much. Excuse me, guys. I'm just being real here. And I was like, he's cool. But all of a sudden, he started having these signs of schizophrenia. And I'm like, I have no clue what this is all about. I thought he was like, under some major drugs, or he was coming down for something from, another major drug or something. And ultimately we find out that he has schizophrenia. And so to me, in like interacting with people like that, you don't know what is going to happen next. So I mean, there is a fine line, and in order for you to find that fine line where this person is gentle, this person could cause harm, has to be balanced by some really good men and women that are on our police, or on our streets, such as our sheriff's department, police department. So to have that education and to acknowledge that this person could be that person that could basically do some very big harm, or this person could be just with a little gentle love and kindness could be just perfectly fine.
I think if the community awareness is that try to use the mental health awareness versus judgment.
Absolutely.
Because if you're jumping to judgment and you think you know what that person's going to, you're wrong. You're instantly wrong.
That's exactly right. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Reach Out program one more time, because that is something that is, and Matt Force is another organization that has a number of agencies that work together, that if you do have a family member or you think you have a problem, whether it's with substance abuses or there's substance abuse,
Yeah.
Something.
Attorneys general. There's reachout.org is there are resources out there for you, and this ties back into our organization because it is part of working with law enforcement as well as making sure, like I said, that folks get the support they need, because that's really what law enforcement is. They're there to serve and protect. That's what they're there for.
I know that what the biggest issue is that people aren't aware. They don't have the understanding and the direction and the path to say there's these opportunities out there that are non-judgmental, that aren't going to take you out of your home, that aren't going to judge you, that put you in a home, they're not going to put you in a place because you say, I think I need some help. As a kid, as a family, they're not going to just take away your kids like this. Everybody operates on such a level of fear. That they think, the world is against them. And it's really hard in certain situations because they may have had experiences that are negative.
Oh, sure.
Well, when it comes down to our new today social media, that social media can kill a vibe very, very quickly. I remember, just as last quick, this is probably going to be the closing stuff, but I remember somebody reaching out to us and they were just like, did you see exactly what the police did? And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't. Let me go ahead and check it out. Obviously, I'm very curious, and plus you can see all of this stuff on YouTube. Well, it was like the end of a certain scenario. And I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of crazy. So, I reach out to my local law enforcement. I think it was Deputy Chief John Brambilla, and I said, hey, man, what do you know about this? He goes, oh, this was insane, man. Here, I'll send you the whole police report. And so we get the whole police report, and it was like this. I was like, if it was my brother, I'd be like, told you, bro, you should have pulled over, man. Hey, but what ended up happening, it was like a reoccurrence after reoccurrence from like three city lines where he almost hit a person. He almost ran a person off the street. He was going into 100 miles plus an hour flight or whatever. Mm-hmm. But what that people saw was the end part. And I'm like, the guy had several chances to stop and be like, you know what? I'm sorry. I have messed up. I give up. But he didn't. And so the piece that they gave me was that one piece that would make that person look bad.
It's the Lynchburg mentality and really informed decision making, being attentive, talking to that friend that looks like they're maybe off their rocker right now, or diving deeper into a scenario that you see, or someone tells you something about a situation. That's not gold.
No.
It's not gold.
No. And the see something, say something it really is true. I mean, we've seen why that is, and people won't get in trouble for it. Even calling our non-emergency number. If you don't,
it's called street cred, bro. You can't snitch.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay, so this is what happened to me the other day. Oh no, I see you dry snitching right now. I was like, bro, I'm over 44 years old. It's not dry snitching no more, man. It's like keeping our streets safe because our kids.
Snitching.
Yeah, it's a terminology that prisoners love to go ahead and talk about things because obviously they've been in the system and there's like you just don't talk to the bobo. But this is the problem is that what if we don't? Then we're going to allow some very crazy things to happen in our community, which ends up turning to happen to our children. And if we don't put a stop to it, or if we don't slow it down, then all of a sudden it's going to become a natural fixture. But I can keep on going on with this. Well, we're going to start a new podcast. It's going to be called Let's Talk About Our.
Exactly. I did want to, you brought up the jail. May I mention one thing? Yeah. This is really important. So I want to talk to everybody out there. One of the things that we are desperate for is we need recruitment efforts. We need deputies. We need detention officers. Yeah. It's whether you I always say the detention officer is not like the show Oz, they're not, or Prison Break or whatever, there's so many different things you can do in the jail. There's the jail SWAT, there's you can work in dispatch, there's so many things to do. And we have that new jail that we're building and we need people. And you know what, I think you only have to be 18. And that's for the detention side. On the deputy side, you have to go through some training, but we really need good people and we need you because we need your family, your friends, your neighbors to realize, oh yeah, law enforcement is great because my neighbor, my son, my cousin, my uncle is an officer. So if you want to go to ycsojobs.gov, we would love to have some good folks part of our family. And I hate that term family because it's so overused and it's so cliche, but It really is true.
It really is a family. It is a good network.
It's been scrolling on the bottom, so if you
Yes.
guys want to take a
Oh,
screenshot or even actually call them up or even go to their website, it's been scrolling on the bottom from starting point of the beginning where I said hello, but this is where I say goodbye.
Very
If anybody could get a hold of you,
Yep.
where should they go with the number that we have given?
Well, that's the non-emergency number, but if somebody wants to get a hold of me or just the Public Affairs Department, the Public Affairs at yavapaiaz.gov, you'll get to us directly that way. Let us know if you want us to come out and meet with you, if there's something we can talk about, and, we can even just sit down and chat if you feel like it.
Bring Deputy
There we
Do Right.
go.
We'll bring Deputy Do Right, of course.
Deputy Do Right. Hopefully he can come to our movie night, and we would love to have you guys be a part of that. With that being said, what else do we have to offer?
Saying goodbye. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Sayonara.
Sayonara.
Until next
Konnichiwa. Wait. Konnichiwa is like hello, right?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Namaste. Anyways, with that being said, I'm out of here. We are usually here on Wednesdays, and as you know, you're more than welcome to go ahead and be a part of this. And like Michelle always says,
Like, subscribe, and join us again next week if you like what we're doing.
yippa yippa. I'll see you there.
I've been down